Hello and welcome to the very first show of Divorced Women Creating Peace. I'm so excited to have you all here. I'm super excited about my special guest. Now, I've had the opportunity to know Lisa for a few years now. I've had the opportunity to have many discussions with her, and I'm so excited to share her with you. Lisa Winston is a #1 best-selling author, inspirational speaker, TV show host, pro-vocalist, artist, and mom. A life of extreme challenges, including losing her home to wildfire, breast cancer, and neuro-Lyme disease, made Lisa hungry for a deeper connection to her inner guidance and to support others in building resilience, as well as creating more ease, flow, and joy in their lives. Today, she is doing this by helping people heal and grow through creativity. Welcome to the show, Lisa.
Melba, you know I love you so much. A virtual hug.
This is going to be super amazing. Now, I have one special question that I'm going to be asking all the guests going forward. And so I'm really excited to ask this question of you because I know you and I have parallels in some of our experiences. They're not the same. And but there is parallels enough that I know I felt like a kindred spirit with you in a lot of our experiences. So my question that I'd like to start this out with is, what was your most valuable lesson from divorce, and what made that so valuable for you?
Wow, that's a huge question because there were so many things, that we go through and we learn over time. But I think the biggest lesson for me was that, well, I'm going to give you a slash. It's this slash kind of hand in hand. Number one, you have got to trust your gut, your inner guidance. When you have big red flags coming up, like I did before I married the guy, and you don't listen, hello, anybody home, The other part of that is respecting and honoring yourself. I think oftentimes we do things because we don't feel worthy or deserving, and we're repeating patterns from the past. So hand in hand, again, you can trust yourself, respect and honor yourself, trust your gut and your guidance. And if you're in a situation where, like I was, I got that before I got married, run as fast as you can for the hills, right? And if you're in the relationship already, you still get to do that.
So I really love what you shared about trusting your gut.
Yeah.
And I think that is one of the things that I observed in myself with both of my divorces and with exiting some long-term relationships. And with each one, I gained more ability to trust that. Was that your experience too?
Yeah, it was. I mean, mine was confusing. I had 2 divorces also. I was married for about 2 or 3 years when I found out my first husband, he was a thief in his business. He was stealing things from custom homes that he was building. And he also had an affair with his contractor's wife. So that's a whole big thing. And so he left, and but I went on about a year later and married the second guy, which was my second marriage, the one that I had my daughter with. And why we do these things, I think out of desperation, maybe not feeling loved, feeling like you need to have somebody. I had moved from Phoenix to California, and I got dumped in California, didn't know anybody. So I was, not that that's an excuse, but a lot of times we cling on to people, because we feel alone or whatever. So yeah, I had 2 divorces and then a 15-year relationship after that was very toxic, as I had shared with you. And I did get better and better. It wasn't ideal. I was making better choices, but I still had a long road to go. As a matter of fact, in my 15-year relationship, I really started searching for a spirit, God, whatever it was, because I was suffering so much. So everything really brought me to where I am now. Awakened me, enlightened me, helped me to grow. It was painful, but it was something I had to go through to get here.
I so connect with that. I mean, I married my high school sweetheart. When I exited that relationship, and it was me who chose to exit it, I wasn't growing anymore. Um, and moved into this my next marriage. He was actually the first fellow I dated after leaving my first marriage, and then, like you, that's where my son came from. So very, very grateful for that full
Yes.
experience. And then leaving that again, there was um infidelities and loyalties that were crossed. And so yeah, it really is that opportunity for us to learn how to trust our gut, because I don't know about you, but there was always that feeling that I couldn't quite name.
Yeah, for me too. I'm different than I was because also I didn't feel loved. I didn't feel seen, accepted, heard. I didn't love myself. I was so hard on myself. And when I think back, I think, and that's when I lost my house to wildfire and I had the breast cancer afterwards. All that stuff has to do with inner emotions, not the wildfire, but things that hadn't been resolved. And so again, it was like each relationship was a little bit better, but each relationship had its own, set of gifts. And um, I don't know. I've been divorced 25 years now, but I'm happily with somebody, partnered. And I really believe that I couldn't be where I am now. I wouldn't have been able to attract my partner now if I hadn't gone through those experiences. So, really loving yourself, and sometimes that's hard to do. Sometimes
Mhm.
you need to go through those experiences that kind of slap you up alongside the head. But again, that self honoring place, the respect. A lot of my marriage, I don't know about yours per se, but mine, all of mine were abusive. They were emotionally abusive, some physically abusive. And again, that's like you beating yourself up, right? Only now you have somebody to do it, and it's you not loving you, you not um, honoring yourself and doing the right thing, you falling into those old habits and patterns. And again, you can't beat yourself up for that if you made those choices. You just go on to do better, afterwards. But
Yeah.
again, I really think it starts from the beginning. If you see a red flag, if you see lots of red flags, I think a lot of these can be avoided if we actually take action. Sometimes we think we're so in love and it's hormones talking or whatever it is, right? Or it's the right guy, but we know he needs some changes, and maybe he'll change if
Mhm.
we marry him, right? I think a lot could be avoided, but
It's you talked about respecting and honoring yourself, and then you also had mentioned earlier about repeating patterns from your past. I know when I am a proponent of therapy. I believe that we deserve
yes,
that kind of support.
yes,
And so when I was working with my therapist and we were talking about those red flags,
yes.
um, one of the things that he said to me that was so profound was, those aren't red flags about him. Those are red flags about you and what you're willing to accept. And I'm like, oh,
I love that.
right. Yeah. And that is the respecting and honoring yourself, because if I had respected and honored myself,
Mhm.
those things in those moments would not have been acceptable.
Yeah, it's like, what are we willing to put up with? And
Mhm.
for my ex-husband that I had my daughter with, the red flags were so huge. They just kept coming. And I don't know why I kept saying yes. I must have been in a fog, brain dead, something. And I wasn't going through therapy. I really needed therapy. It's funny, you don't know how bad your self image is and your belief system.
Mhm.
Start getting into these things. When I was a kid and I was dating and I was on the road singing and all that, I didn't really know. I didn't really care. But when I started choosing partners, it was a pretty good indication that I was kind of screwed up from my past, from my parents' relationship, from various things. So I am off. I believe what you said is so true. Therapy, any kind of therapy. Uh,
Absolutely. And I love what you shared too when you were talking about repeating patterns from our past. And you had mentioned about some of the things that you brought into your life from your parents' relationships. I mean, I know I did the same thing. And and it's those meanings that we put on the experiences we have as young people that create those beliefs that we bring into those marriages. I remember when I left, actually, it was when I transformed the relationship with my ex-husband. We had not been speaking for 3 years. We only communicated by email. And in doing my own internal work, what I'd come to understand was that I stayed in the marriage longer than I needed to because I believed that if I didn't fix this marriage, I was a failure.
mhm.
So that was how my belief of I'm a failure was manifesting itself inside of that relationship. And once I transformed that belief, it was like, there was so much that dropped away from my relationship with my ex-husband. He's still the same man he always was, but I get to experience him differently because I'm not experiencing him through I'm a failure.
Right, I love that. That's huge. For me, it was so different. I mean, I just kept picking one bad relationship after the next, and then I ended up in a 15-year relationship that was toxic and trying to co-parent with a narcissistic ex, which is
Mm.
virtually impossible. So my daughter was in the middle of massive emotional abuse all the time. And I stayed in that 15-year relationship because I felt like I was a musician. I had a band in San Diego. I was a band leader and I was making okay money, but not great money. And I really felt like my daughter needed a roof over her head. However, I never stopped to think that now she had all kinds of people. She was kind of like the Oreo cookie, that should sit in the middle of the sandwich, getting squashed.
Mhm.
And so I made some really bad decisions. And the cool thing is that not everybody is religious or spiritual. I mean, I don't think I really was either. I tried religion. I tried a lot of different things. I didn't, I was just feeling things out. Right. But when it got really, really hard, as you know, when you stay in a relationship
Mhm.
that's really difficult and you start to suffer, you know, you can go to therapy. I should have done that. I did not do that, but I got on my hands and my knees and I was like, God,
Mhm.
God, somebody help me. I started reading Eckhart Tolle. I started reading, Lynn Grabhorn about energy and excuse me, your life is waiting. And I started doing all these things and it was unbelievable. It was like that experience really led me to the spirituality, which really led me to listening to my inner guidance to a greater degree. A lot of us
Mhm.
we hear something and we think it's coincidental, but we don't really listen to it. So I started really listening. And that's when I actually had the strength and the download that told me to leave that relationship. So, for whatever reason, my path was to be more spiritual and to learn those lessons through those relationships. Not everybody has the same lesson. I mean, losing your house to fire, too, breast cancer, all those things were just like the universal two by four. Hey, Lisa,
Mhm.
listen up. But then I was also loved and supported in a huge way through all that stuff. So, you know, don't compare your situation with anybody else's. What is it that you are supposed to learn? What is it that you are supposed to go through? Everything is different. But
Mhm.
I think, like you said, once we can get through all that and get to the other side of it, we can start creating something that's more loving and a life that's actually really amazing.
And that's one of the beautiful things. I love what you're sharing in your story because it's sharing that progression, right?
Mhm.
Because each of us goes through that, and with each of those different experiences we gain more, we gain more, we gain more. And I know that what you experienced has you where you are right now with teaching people how to connect to that intuition through their creativity. And like, I know with your art I get to witness some of the beauty that is just flowing out of you right now. How do our ladies connect to that inner creativity? What would you recommend that they start looking at in order to
Yeah,
allow
that's
that out?
That's such a great question. For me, that was a progression also. I'd been a watercolor painter my whole life, and then I felt like I was being called to something else. And then I got introduced to the fluid art, which I loved. But then after about a year, I started feeling unsettled. And so my big deal with being spiritual, quote unquote, whatever that means to you, was to ask the universe. The universe is my co-creator. I'm a co-creator with the universe, the energy, God, whatever you want to call that. And so I started asking, what am I here to do? Like, I love my fluid art. It's beautiful, but I don't feel like it's me. I don't feel like it's my purpose. And so I started really asking every day, and literally in a short amount of time, I did an intuitive painting class, and this new form of abstract stuff came through that people are going gaga over, and I'm like, okay, I think I hit the mark. So for me, it's really about being open, asking for support or help or guidance, learning the lesson of just, if you want to create something, and you don't, again, have to be creative, you don't have to be a painter or anything. Creativity is great for everybody. You can release emotions that way, you can grow that way, you can connect both sides of your brain that way. There are all kinds of things you can do, but it really teaches you to evolve with, I just did a thing on my an Instagram post today on one of my paintings. What I'm really coming to learn is to love the evolution of a piece of art. You know how we always try to control things? Sorry, I'm trying to put words to it because it's fairly new for me. So every day I get an idea, I have colors, whatever, and I put stuff down. And so I suggest that all of you out there get a sketch pad, get a little inexpensive canvas and some paints, and just start slapping some paint, some color on there. No rhyme or reason, just do it. And if you can just do that on a daily basis and add to that painting and just let it go and let it be, and just kind of like find the joy of, I don't know what this is going to be, but it's going to turn out really amazing. That's how I feel. And every day you'll get new ideas. So it's teaching you just to trust the process, and that's so important in life and in everything you do. So, get out your canvases, oh, okay. Thank you.
I love what you said there. And I kind of did a play on words there. You said, love the evolution of a piece of art. And, I think this connects so beautifully to what you've been sharing about trusting your gut.
Right.
Like connecting to that. It's connecting to that not only for being able to transform our divorce, but being able to transform ourselves and being able to connect to that piece. And in a lot of ways, we are a piece of art.
Oh,
and we are creating that piece of art, and that piece of art is evolving as well. So there was so much juiciness in that.
It's like, if you're going through a divorce now, you may have been divorced for a long time, but divorce, you can be betrayed. Lots of things can happen in a divorce, right? And so it can really take you down, and it can make you sick. And so I really feel that art is healing. Like I said, for everybody, you don't even have to show anybody what you're doing. It gets rid of emotions. When I was really sick, I just painted angry stuff because I wanted to get something out on paper. So it really helps you to express your emotions. And the funny thing is that you never know what's going to come through. Like you said, when you trust your gut and you just get whatever you're getting and you let it come through without controlling it, you get messages. I mean, I'm doing this art, it's Ho'oponopono, love and forgiveness and gratitude. And so you can really start to learn the art of love and forgiveness for your ex. Now, I did a constellation session not too long ago, actually, that really healed my resentment towards my ex completely. Therapy of a sort for me, right? That took a long time for me to get around to, but I thought, I'm not coming back in again with that karma. So, but I think it's because of my openness, the creativity piece. Again, I can't give you like parameters because it's different for everybody. But when you just say yes to starting to do something that's creative, playing with color, playing with, drawing, playing with anything, you will start getting little jewels, little gems, all kinds of messages, and you'll let go, and you will start to heal. You will.
Mm-hmm. I like that. That's another one. That's another keeper. Say yes.
Say yes to creativity. I say yes. Yes.
Yes, absolutely. And it's interesting because as I'm listening to you, I presently don't have the paints and those types of things available to me right now. However, this summer especially, I've been expressing my creativity through walking.
I love that.
And so I live within 5 minutes of a river,
Mm,
and I go walking to and in that river, and I will put my headphones on, play the music, and I'm literally walking down the path, lip syncing and dancing to this music. I've had the crap scared out of me a few times when kids come up when
right.
those scooters and stuff like
Oh,
that, and I don't see them coming. I'm
yeah.
sure they're laughing their head off because this lady grooving down the street, and even like down the path, and even like going into the water and playing and
Yes.
kicking the water around and splashing. Like we there are no limits
Right.
on how we express our creativity, and that's some of what I got from what you've been sharing about your flow.
Hmm.
Your creativity was music and paint, and the water paints, and then it was flow paints, and then it was intuitive paints. Like it was just, I can see the real flow
Yeah.
and the growth and the trust that went with that in your forms of creativity that you've been expressing.
But now you're flowing in the rivers. I like that. It's so interesting because you're saying that, and you can go out and garden. You can play in the dirt. You can get some Play-Doh and just start, moving it around. It's really just using your hands. It's really also letting go and getting out of your head. Creativity is really using your imagination and just kind of going with whatever. Being a child, right? We're stuffy adults. We've talked about that before, and it's
Mhm.
letting go. And when you let go, like when you're in the river, you're not feeling resentment. You're feeling peace and calm and contentment. And maybe you're getting spiritual messages or from your higher self or whatever. So it really is getting out of the way and being able to listen to whatever's coming through for you, which really helps to heal. So thank you for bringing that up. That's beautiful.
I love it because it's and I want our listeners to get that you get to choose how you express your creativity. I love to cook. We
Yes.
with my family, my mom and my sister and I, last weekend, we were making pickles together, and honestly, it was mishmashing recipes together and
It's an
just
art.
playing in
Yeah.
it. They were good too.
I love pickles. Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, art, I think everything's art. Like you said, we are a work of art. Everything around us is a work of art. Look at a tree, look at a leaf, look at everything. And that's the beauty of it. And I bet when you're like when I used to take walks on the beach, I would always find hearts, rocks in the shape of hearts all the time. And I felt like the universe was just speaking to me, speaking love to me. So it's really about connecting with the nature, that inner the piece that you are, that is connected to all that is, trying to speak love to you. We don't love ourselves usually, right? So it's great for us to connect to that and to feel the love. And
Mhm.
any kind of creativity does that. I love that. I mean, I love cooking. I wish I was close to you. I'd come have some pickles too. You're making me hungry.
Right? Oh, I
Right?
love this.
Oh
Here
my
we go.
gosh. Oh,
Everything
everything's
is
art.
art.
Yep.
Yep.
It is. It really is. Yeah. So, yeah. Did you see my latest piece?
I did, and I actually did see that video on Instagram.
It's
I love that because that's kind of like each each branch is an expression of the creativity, and each flower is an expression of the creativity, and each hair on our head
yeah.
is the expression of creativity. Each wrinkle, I mean, we're getting up there. Each little wrinkle,
I have
each
so many
little
wrinkles. Love her
each
brain
little
legs.
laugh line is an
Like,
expression of our creativity, right? Like it's an expression of our creation.
yes, absolutely. Well, I had a thought, and I'm getting old, so I just lost it. That happens from time to time. I hope I'm not getting dementia. Um, no, what I was going to say was, and this came through in a big way, for all of you out there, not to compare yourself if you're doing something creative, whether it's cooking, walking in the river, playing with Play-Doh, gardening, whatever it is. Don't compare what you're doing with anybody else. For you to be completely connected and open and free, you get to be in the moment and bring through whatever you're feeling. When I do my paintings now, no kidding, on all of them, I write things across, like I have Ho'oponopono, the prayer, gratitude, like I write words all over, big
Mhm.
words. And if you look around out there, there are some people that have some very abstract, like graffiti kind of art out there. So whatever yep, comparison is the itis, the killer. Yes, yes. You are a one of a kind, unique masterpiece, and anything that comes through you is also unique. So whatever you feel like doing, just do something, because all that's bottled up inside of us. We have no idea why we're frustrated and anxious. It's because we're carrying all this emotional junk that wants to be dumped out of us, and expressed. And so there's a healthy way to express it. So
When I had my coaching business, it was at least 15 years ago, my first coaching business, I would have my clients dump out the crap on one side of a piece of paper and then flip it
yeah,
to what they want on the other side of the piece of paper. And one of my coaches back in that day had something that she called a diva bitch walk.
oh, I
And
never heard of that one.
oh, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. It's like, go for a walk and complain to your heart's content and get it all out. Because what you would find on the other side is, once you released it, you would end up, or I would end up, talking with as much passion about what I wanted
Yes.
afterwards, once I got out what I didn't want anymore.
I love that. You're just getting the energy flowing. And I'm glad you brought that up too, because a lot of people think we're talking about creativity, right? And just putting things down and emotions, but to express those emotions. And let's face it, if we've been through divorces, not many of us have had really healthy divorces. So we have a lot of anger and resentment and, criticism, whatever it is. And it's okay to feel that. It's okay to get it out, but you have to, like you said, express it in a healthy way. And then once that clears, it's kind of like the brain dump, that you do when you just have a lot of stuff around. Then you have space for really cool stuff to come through. So I love that. The diva bitch walk.
Right. Right. It's awesome. And I think that is some of the beauty of what we talk about when it comes to creativity. Because again, in the beginning, you were talking about trusting your gut. Our gut is often where we hold a lot of those negative emotions, and the way to get to the truth is to let those things fall away and be released. And that's where, whether it be therapy, whether it be a trusted friend, whether it be journaling or a diva bitch walk, however you choose to allow those things to be released out, or even making those paintings, because you talked about the paintings that you did to release those emotions and to express them. That's a healthy way to express them. I could see, this is just me, but if I were to do that, I'd probably go out and have a bonfire and then burn all of them.
I kept it because it's so cool to show people, that it's okay.
Evolution.
It's okay to be dark when it's you can scream and shout, you can hit the wall, you can draw nasty, dark, paintings, you can do whatever you want. It's just a side of you, and it's just for a period of time. It's not forever. So you need to express, I want to also share with your beautiful women here, your goddesses, something that came through. And it was like, we can heal from divorce. We can. But besides taking letting it evolve, letting yourself evolve and doing the right things for yourself and honoring yourself, what I heard was that, a lot of times people decide to stay in victim mode. And that really doesn't serve a purpose at all, except for to make us suffer. So it's kind of like, do you want to stay in prison or do you want to be free? And it really doesn't matter. That's why when I met Joe, I really started learning about Ho'oponopono, because forgiveness is a little wacky, right? A lot of times we do these exercises. I used to coach people, right? You put the person in front of you, and then you see them, and it's like, but it never went away for me. It was like this. When I started repeating, "I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you," over and over, which is really, it's you know, talking to the divine. It's
Mhm.
you clearing you, because we attract what we are from the inside out. And so when I started really focusing more on that, that really started to help me let go. Because, when you hold on to this stuff, you end up having all kinds of bad things happen. You can attract illness. You can, it's just
Mhm.
from this resentment. So we can heal after divorce. We have to make the choice. And like you said, if you're having a lot of trouble, go to therapy, release that way, whatever you need to do, and then find something that fills you. Um, Life after divorce can be amazing, and you can end up with an amazing partner, but you don't have to fully be perfect.
No.
I am not perfect, and I still attracted somebody, but I must have let go of a layer of stuff from the old divorces. And that's what allowed the new relationship to come in. So, I mean, we're always working on ourselves anyway, right? It never ends, but it gets better and better.
Well, that's why I see creativity being really valuable in because, when we're being creative, we are bringing a certain amount of flow into our lives. And it is through that flow that, we can let certain things go, or we can make different choices. One of my favorite definitions about forgiveness, and I can't remember where I heard it, but was forgiveness is remembering without hurting anymore.
Yeah. The charge is gone. Hmm.
Exactly. The emotion, the pain, the meaning,
Yeah.
all of it is gone. And so those things are disconnected. And when we can do that, we can live in that place of forgiveness and live in that place of flow. And I think that's where the creativity is such an amazing tool
Yeah.
for someone to use to support themselves as they are transforming themselves and their lives after the divorce.
You will not believe how good it makes you feel. The other day when I started that painting, I didn't know where I was going. That's how I work. I have colors, I have an idea, I have words, and then I used to put stuff on paper, and I'd be like, I judge it. Well, I don't. That's not the way. Now I'm like, wonder what that's going to be. That's really cool. But what I want to share with you is the real value of creativity is like when I was doing something and I wanted it to look a certain way, right? I walked away from it, came back the next day, and all of a sudden I did something. I took, I scraped some paint or whatever, and all of a sudden this new possibility ended up, and I started like just flowing, and I started laughing. I was like, it was like this. That's what we have to remember. It's not about controlling and constriction. It's about openness and flow and expansion. So when
Mm.
you're angry and you're doing angry art around your divorce or your emotions or whatever it is, that's fine. Do whatever the heck you want to do, right? But after that, open up to expansion, open up to doing what feels good. Sometimes you would die laughing, Velma. Like if you heard me, you think I was a nutcase. I was in the car the other day, and I didn't have my seatbelt on, so the seatbelt thing was going doo 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 doo, and I was like, woo woo, live it. Like I'm coming up with these really weird, these names the whole way into the garage, and I thought I must be friggin' crazy.
Ah, you were jamming to it.
It's like I like to play, and I like to play games with myself, and I think nobody's around. It's just me. Who cares, right? I mean,
Mhm.
that's the problem. We've lost the joy of being children, child's play. And even when kids are painting, they don't like worry about details. They're finger painting and they're off doing stuff. So
Mhm.
get connected to flow and expansion. And when you light up, when you're just, when you can just take a brush and make a wavy mark and then feel good. It's like, then you want to do it some more. I mean, that's just my experience yesterday. That's why I'm sharing it, because it was amazing. It was like another level of letting go and trusting. And so, yeah, don't try to control. Don't love
And
it.
it really love the evolution of the piece of art, of a piece of art that you had said earlier. That really speaks into all that you've been sharing here, because we are the evolution and we are the art.
Can I steal that? I always think of the
Oh,
talking about the piece, and I'm like, but it's the piece. That's that's the piece that we're missing, right? Like,
Mhm.
yeah, I
It
love
it
it.
abs it absolutely is, and it is amazing that, and yes, absolutely, we need to share this out because it is the truth.
You know what I'd love to do with your group? I'm just getting this hit. I did workshops last year, and
Mhm.
I just have so much going on, and because I'm still healing from Lyme, I run out of energy, and so I can't do all the things I want to do quickly. But I'm feeling like it'd be really cool at some point if we could do like a healing art class. Doesn't have to be
Mm.
super long, but if anybody in the group is interested in doing that, I can lead everybody through maybe just a letting go, a release kind of a healing art class, and we can get into the flow of it and do a little meditation or whatever. If that's something that everybody's open to, I'm
Ooh.
just putting it out there because it just popped in my head.
That sounds like a lot of fun, and I know, so this is being streamed out
Free. I'll
on
do it for
in
free.
the Facebook group. It's being streamed out in LinkedIn, and it's also being streamed on YouTube. So no matter where you are, if this sounds like something that you would enjoy, throw it in the comments, and we will make it happen inside the Facebook group. We will do it as a special event for our Facebook group members. I would love that. Would be so much
I
fun.
love it too. Who knows what we're going to discover together, right?
Well, exactly. We're going to love the
Love you.
evolution of our piece of art. It's going to be, that's what we should call it.
I know. I love that. All right. You can keep it. It's yours.
We'll create together.
Yeah, we can create together. And again, I'm here also for any tools, anything anybody ever needs, because I'm going to be getting. I mean, I'm all about healing. I'm all about healing
Mhm.
physically, emotionally, mentally, getting rid of the past. I mean, I love what you said about your son, because I got a daughter, out of my marriage as well. And you said I am so grateful. So it's really good for us to
Mhm.
find something good about the time we spent with that person. There are probably more things than we know. But then to move beyond the emotions that are weighing us down, keeping us out of good relationships and making us sick. So I'm feeling like I'm going to be coming up with some more tools and workshops and classes or something. You know, maybe we'll just do it around divorced women. I don't know, but I think we need
I'm
to.
sure the timing and the exact of it will absolutely come out, and I can't wait to hear about it because
Put
I'm
it
going to be definitely sharing what you're up to. So, what I would really love is if you could share how our listeners can get a hold of you. What is the best way for them to connect to you?
Well, gosh, I mean, Facebook, I have a business Facebook account, but I also have a personal Facebook account. I'm pretty active on both.
Mhm.
So you can find me there, Lisa Winston. Instagram, I'm on Lisa A. Winston. And if you want to see my art website, which is sadly lacking because I haven't had the time to get to it, it's art.lisaawinston.com. But you can email me in any of those places or PM me for any information, and I will respond.
Perfect. And I'm going to get those various links from you so that I can post it in, especially onto the um, YouTube video as well. I'll update that to make sure that we got your links in there. And also when we send this out into podcast land. So brilliant. Thank you so much for your time today, Lisa. I loved the conversation. I loved all the juiciness that came out of this. And being able to share that each of us is an evolution and it is beautiful. And if we look, we can find those beauties in it. Because I got to tell you, yes, I got my son out of it. Had I not had the experience of my second marriage, I would never have released the belief, or at least not. I probably would have eventually, but it gave me the gift of releasing that belief of I'm a failure.
And you're so
It created that opportunity. So each of these things, each of these experiences creates opportunity for beauty and healing in every one of us.
Yes. Thank you for having me. And everybody here, you are so loved. Don't forget, you are love and love is waiting for you, but you got to love you first. So thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you, Lisa. And thank you to everyone who joined us for our very first show. I'm so grateful to you for showing up. And I can't wait to hear what you got out of this. Please leave your messages in the comments, like, subscribe wherever you are. And I'm looking forward to connecting with you soon. And come on over to Facebook and look for Divorced Women Creating Peace. I know I got the link there, and I'll have it in all of the places I can put it, but we really want to have you here. Have a great day.